Alright boys, something a little bit different today. You could call it YouTube drama or YouTube news, but this type of stuff piques my interest, and on this channel, we just talk about stuff that I like talking about. And seeing as we spoke about whether Jake Paul is natural or not the other day, you can watch that video here. I did plant the seed at the start of that video that we would be covering a little bit of this YouTube drama today. And hey, I'm a proper YouTuber now. Obviously, as you all know, Jake Paul beat Nate Diaz the other day. And after his fight, he went on his brother's Logan Paul's podcast to talk about the fight. And things got a little bit heated. I'm not really a big fan of airing your dirty laundry all over the internet, especially when it's with family. We've all got that friend on Facebook who shares a little bit too much information about the personal lives, and Jake and Logan are obviously completely comfortable doing this. At the end of the day, it does bring more attention to them. There's no such thing as bad press. Who's in the wrong? Let's dive into it. But before we do, like and subscribe, because we upload content like this every single day on the channel. So deeper into the podcast, the conversation slowly turned into who's going to fight KSI. He's also a YouTuber, if you don't know. Is it going to be Jake Paul? Is it going to be Logan Paul? And this would obviously be after KSI's next fight. Roll the clip.
What is your mind telling you about this KSI versus Tommy Fury fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a real fight because it's an exhibition, like, first and foremost.
Hold on a second.
It doesn't count. No, it doesn't count.
Yeah, but it's still a real fight.
He's not doing any, it's not a professional fight, though. So to me, it doesn't matter.
It's still a real fight.
It doesn't matter, though. It's like, it's an exhibition. It's like, it doesn't go on anyone's records. The stakes aren't as high because of that.
I'm trying to give you a comparison.
I'll give you one. Logan Paul versus Floyd.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. Everyone wins? Are they both going to win at the end? Is there even a winner?
There's a stipulation here. There's a reason why it's not going to go on BoxRec, or because it's not an exhibition.
But none of KSI's fights do. So to me, it's not boxing until they make it professional fights.
But they are professional fights.
No, they're not.
But they're 10-ounce
exhibitions.
gloves with no headgear. I'm on the same card. It's not, mine isn't an exhibition. I consider it a real fight.
Consider it, or it is, with a decisive winner, and it will go on your record.
It doesn't go on your record.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if the number on the record not being there doesn't make it legitimate.
So all that on about here for context is that exhibition fights often aren't listed on a fighter's official record. BoxRec is a website dedicated to holding updated records of professional and amateur boxers, both male and female. And what they're talking about here is that KSI's next fight isn't going to be recorded on BoxRec. Therefore, the stakes aren't as high in these exhibition fights.
His career may not be that of numbers. It may not. They might not matter. Everyone knows.
Yeah, but that's why, like, I don't like to be in the same conversation, because what I'm doing is like real.
It's fair. That's fair.
Well, here's where you do come back in the conversation. He has basically said, or has said, that if he beats Tommy, he can retire as the king of this level of boxing, because he took down someone that you haven't or couldn't at the time.
That's such a cop-out. It's such a cop-out. How many fighters in the history of the sport have beaten someone and then lost to a different guy who beat that person? Like,
Jake's right here. If KSI beats Tommy Fury, that doesn't make KSI better than Jake. MMA and boxing math doesn't work like that. Here's a picture demonstrating an example of this. Press pause right now to understand what MMA math means. So KSI is a fool and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, although if KSI does beat Tommy, it does put KSI in the #1 spot in terms of rankings, but it doesn't mean that he's better than Jake.
I'm going to rematch Tommy Fury whenever, but also none of this is my goal. My goal is to become world champion and fight the best of the best, and to continue boxing 2, 3, 4 years from now, when a lot of these guys are going to stop. That shit is cool. I lost. Yeah, I'll deal with that as a man. I'm upset. I'm going to get better from it. But at the end of the day, where my end of the road goal goes, it has nothing to do with KSI.
At the end of the day, KSI's mission is to box YouTubers, whereas Jake seems like he's on a bigger mission within the boxing space. Although I do believe within this YouTuber boxing scene, KSI versus Jake is probably the fight that everyone wants to see. I've seen some people say that if KSI retires from fighting, then it's going to get under Jake's skin. But not necessarily so, because Jake will move on to bigger opportunities anyway. Now, this is where it starts getting a little bit spicy between Logan and Jake. The conversation then turns to who should fight Tommy Fury next, Jake or Logan.
If he stops KSI, I'm going for Tommy's throat. I love that vengeance storyline.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the energy into the air, but like, Tommy Fury's on my radar. I have him in my scopes. I wanted it when Jake was fighting him, and I'm gonna be back in the conversation, which I'm fucking stoked about. Yeah, dude.
Logan's saying that he needs to fight Tommy Fury first. Why? Let Jake get his rematch in. That usually happens when a fighter goes undefeated for quite a while, or there's a decent storyline with a lot of beef and a big feud between two fighters. They'll run it back because people want to see it again. People want to see the storyline wrap up. Imagine if Nick Diaz had a problem with Nate Diaz because Nick wanted to fight Conor McGregor next and not let Nate Diaz get the third rematch in. That's what Logan's trying to do. He's trying to swoop in and take the limelight off Jake. Jake initially wanted the KSI fight after he initially fought Deji, but Logan actually took the KSI fight off Jake Paul. But now Logan wants to take the Tommy fight off Jake. Logan doesn't see how he's a hypocrite here. I believe that he just wants to beat Tommy Fury to say that he's better than Jake.
No, I'm gonna finish him off first. I gotta handle that business first.
We'll see, bro, because you definitely sniped the Nate Diaz fight from me, and I've been so lenient in giving you your opponents.
Now, Jake's response is actually fantastic here, and I'll be honest, I know there's a lot of Jake haters, but he went up in my books after I heard this.
And I think it's
it's not your option to give me my opponents. you haven't fought anyone. You don't fight real fights. It's just not your option to give me my opponents. You're not even a fighter. Like, you do exhibitions and lost like 4 years ago.
Jake's coming with the verbal haymakers. I love Mike's face just after Jake's response. It's like that laugh that you do where you know it's true, but it's your mate getting called out and you don't want to intervene because it's not your argument, but you don't want to laugh either. Now, this next bit is wild what Logan says.
I think I'm better than you, and I think Nate chose you for a reason, and I think everyone knows that.
What do you mean?
Even in here.
But what have you done to prove that you're better than me?
I don't know. Went toe-to-toe 8 rounds with the greatest boxer of all time. What do you think happens if you fight Floyd Mayweather?
I would knock him out.
Bro.
100%.
Don't be ridiculous.
Logan is utterly delusional here, thinking that he went toe-to-toe with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd was chilling in there. Logan had a couple moments in the fight, but defining it as going toe-to-toe is a bit of an exaggeration. Also, no, Jade wouldn't knock out Floyd Mayweather. He couldn't knock out Tommy Fury, and he couldn't knock out an old Nate Diaz, let alone the best boxer of this generation, who is one of the hardest people to hit. And then Logan said that Nate Diaz chose Jake over Logan for a reason. Yes, because Jake is active and he's been winning against MMA fighters, so the MMA community have a little bit of a point to prove against Jake. Logan's delusional. He doesn't realise that he's irrelevant in the boxing scene.
You think because you lost a fight to Floyd Mayweather that you're better than me at boxing?
You said I won the fight.
In person, when I was watching it, I thought so. But then, yeah, watching it back, it's like, okay, I've had like a biased point of view, like sitting there in person.
This is the first time I've heard you say that.
Yeah, but because we never talked about it.
You're switching up like that? The whole internet saw you repeatedly throughout the past 2 years say that I won that fight. And now you're saying the opposite?
Because I'm rooting for you. But like, if you want to know the truth, yeah, like I'm going to ride or die for you on my shield. Yeah, 100%. And afterwards, when I saw that you lost it on TV, people in interviews would still be like, what do you think? I'm not going to be like, no, I watched it back and I thought he lost. No, he won because you're my brother.
I don't disagree.
You see how Logan tries to play the family card against Jake now? Jake never said that Logan's a bad boxer or that Jake's better than Logan. It was Logan who started this by saying that Diaz picked Jake because Jake is an easier fight and Logan is a better boxer than Jake, so people are ducking him. Logan started this. Jake has just responded accordingly. And of course you're going to ride or die for your brother too. We all would. You're not going to immediately after the fight say, yeah, my brother lost the fight, unless it was clearly defined like a knockout or an absolute sweep by Floyd. Jake responds with clear logic, and then Logan says that he doesn't disagree. But you just disagreed with him a minute ago. That's why you're arguing. Logan persists with this and truly believes that he is a harder fight than Jake.
But
for you
I yielded, bro, and I'm tired of not being picked because you're an easier fight.
Is that what you really think in your head?
Logan's just got such a terrible ego. You can see how shocked Jake is by this comment. Maybe initially Logan was better when Jake really didn't have the experience, but now Jake has got those fights under his belt, 8 fights, and okay, although not up against boxers and they're all retired MMA fighters, it's better fighting retired MMA fighters than it is fighting YouTubers. Logan Paul had 1 fight against Floyd.
You had your chance with Tommy. You did. You had it. Right? I have not. I've not gotten to eat at all. You know, like I thought I had that Nate fight locked up. You took it. I said, okay, go for it. But people are avoiding me. They are avoiding me or picking someone else, and that's obnoxious.
Even if people were avoiding Logan, that's not Jake's fault. So I don't know why Logan is coming at Jake like this. In fact, I do, because there's no actual brotherhood there.
If for whatever reason it doesn't go in KSI's favor, The story arc, the vengeance arc of avenging my business partner and brother is right there. I think
you just want to beat Tommy to be able to say that you're better than me at boxing.
Jake's on the money here. Of course, Logan wants to prove he's better than his brother, but no one cares about Logan Paul versus the Tommy fight. He needs to build up momentum again.
But it's crazy for you to think that people are avoiding you.
But Nate chose you over me.
Is it?
Why no. Why would Nate do that?
But Ariel Helwani asked him to his face. And he said because his brother hasn't fought anyone in a real fight. He hasn't knocked out any MMA fighters. He wanted the most real, professional, legitimate fight. That's what he said.
Logan's got no momentum within the boxing game right now. And that's just because he hasn't fought in years. He needs to fight some YouTubers to build himself back up again.
And people know the pay-per-view numbers I put up.
What?
They're fucking big, dude.
But
I'm a great promoter.
What pay-per-view numbers, though? Like
1.2 with Floyd.
Yeah, but that's Floyd.
500K
that's
with
Floyd.
KSI 2. 1.1 with
KSI 2 was 300K.
Every WWE event that I'm in has been their highest grossing and most viewed.
Logan thinks that WWE pay-per-views translate into boxing pay-per-views. Now, maybe there is a bit of crossover, but I just don't buy that that's the case. Jake has proof of concept. The opponents are choosing Jake because he is the bigger fight at the moment. He's got his own promotional company. He's built up a little bit of a story behind him. He's taken out all these MMA fighters. Now, the argument continued when Logan Paul brought up the fact that he wasn't allowed to bring his own energy drink, Prime, into the building, into the event, because the event was sponsored by Celsius, which is also an energy drink. So I won't interject or add any comments. Let's watch this full clip unfold.
Nikisa banned DAZN from mentioning or bringing in Prime to the stadium. They said I would get kicked out if I brought a Prime bottle. That's f***ing ridiculous, dude. Do you think I would ever ban you from promoting any of my events?
That's because of who the partner, the competing partner was
Marcos
for the event.
Texted us 4 times with stipulations. Listed out paragraphs.
Yeah, get over it. Like, and meanwhile,
come on, I'm your brother building a business.
Oh yeah, you're my brother building a business. You love to play both sides, bro.
What's the other side?
You play both sides.
What side am I playing?
You play both sides.
What's the other side that I'm playing?
I'll partner with all of your enemies. Caused issues in our last event when we had other betting partners and drink partners, and you walked out with it with the betting and the drinks.
Is it?
So it caused
to
issues.
Wear what I'm wearing?
It caused issues.
Come on, it's not a. You can't tell me what to wear.
And Logan,
yeah, but if they're paying us millions of dollars and they say, hey, but we don't want this person to be doing this stuff at the event with a competing brand.
That's ridiculous. I couldn't bring in a Prime bottle. Logos and not letting me do certain things and a brand I'm building. Like, bro,
but that's the brands. That's the brands getting involved. I have no say in that. I don't give a f. But if they request something and they're paying millions of dollars to be the title sponsor, what do you care more about? Going to my event or having a Prime bottle in your hand?
I care that it was such a big deal for your team that I'm trying to build a multi-billion-dollar business, and your team, who I see every single day,
at whose event?
An issue with it.
At whose event?
Your event.
Exactly. My event.
I'm your brother.
Yeah, exactly. So respect what's going on at my event.
You can't do that. You can't tell me what to wear. You can't tell me I'm going to be escorted out of the venue if I bring a certain thing.
Technically, they can.
Technically, they can, yeah.
Logan claims he's this big business mogul who's trying to build $1 billion company, but he's showing his immaturity here. Also, just so you know, Logan Paul and KSI don't directly own the Prime energy drink. It's a huge white label company that makes these energy drinks and then use influencers as the owners and creators of the energy drink to push it onto their audience. You might have heard of the energy drink 3D, which is owned by Christian Guzman. Well, technically, it's not. It's owned by a different company. Influencers like Christian Guzman, Logan Paul, and KSI, they're just the face of the brand. Most people don't know that. Anyway, how can you expect to show up at an event with your own product, yet the event is sponsored by a competing brand? Even the UFC control all of the sponsored products which are shown, hence why you'll never see a bottle of Prime, Coke, Dr. Pepper, Red Bull in the post-fight press conferences. It's always Monster because Monster sponsors the UFC. That's like John Jones's brother getting mad that he wasn't allowed to bring Red Bull to a UFC event and flash it to all the cameras. Logan needs to respect what's going on at Jake's event, including all the rules, no exceptions, and he should understand that. Same with my business. A lot of my mates work at my gym, but they have to follow the exact same rules that the other people do. You cannot have one rule for one and another for someone else, otherwise the business will eventually collapse. Now, this is where Jake brings up the fact that Logan always plays the brother card when it's convenient to him.
But that's where I get confused, though, of playing both sides, because you love to play the brother card when it's like convenient, but then it's like, oh, I want to go like I want like my get back at Tommy Fury, and you're like, No. I need to do my career. I need to do. I've been sitting on the sidelines. You're taking all these fights from me. Like,
Does that worry you at all that
and
this is his, that this is his
then when I'm like,
space?
wait, but I'm your brother. Then you're like, no, you're not.
Watching this makes me think of that Andrew and Tristan Tate moment at the end of their stream, just after they were placed on house arrest, where you could see how strong their brotherhood is.
We're the only ones out here genuinely trying to help people, and I'm sad that that affects the people I love most. That's what makes me sad.
Well, I'm by your side. It won't negatively affect me. If I have to sit in jail, I'll sit in jail. They're going to shoot you. I'll stand in the way. We go down together.
It's always been that way for you and me, my friend.
And then if we contrast that to the Paul brothers, we can see that these two have got a lot of friction between them. And also, just to add to this, I see a lot of lads these days and they're not close to the brothers whatsoever. They grow distant, they argue, they barely see each other, they move to a different postcode. And I think it's sad really, because a brotherhood should be the strongest bonds that there is. Hence why you call your closest mates bro or brother. But you'll never catch me using the word bro unless it's with me closest mates who I trust. People just throw it around these days like it's another word for mate. I always wanted a brother when I was younger, and seeing these two fight in front of millions is pretty sad. But I will say often it is the dad's fault. It's the dad's responsibility to cultivate the brotherhood relationship in a manner that withstands the test of time. What do you guys think of all this drama? Comment below if you like me reacting to other types of content like this. I see all your comments saying that this is your new favourite YouTube channel. Look, I can't even tell you how much that means to me. I actually appreciate it, and I want you to know when I'm sitting there tonight in bed with me Maltesers watching a bit of Netflix, Night Agent, those positive comments will be right there. Okay, like the video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.